Hola, ¿cómo está mi amigo? Money Multipliers. How's it going today? Is that a good
What's
intro?
up, man? How are you doing?
Hey, Hannah. Hey, Gabby. Who we
Hey,
got here
everybody.
today? Hi, Eve. Eve's sticking around for us. What's happening? What's happening? How's everybody doing? All right. So we got to ask me anything. Get your questions ready. We have 10 pre-submitted questions that we will hit, and then we'll go to the audience. So get that rolling for us, and we will be right back in 30 seconds. All right. 14 seconds, actually, half the time. We're back. Brent Kessler in the house today. What's up, Mr. Kessler?
What's going on, guys? How are you doing?
Good.
Brent.
Just riding the wave
Can
from
you hear me? Am I muted?
over the weekend. Oh, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got it. So this is kind of a last minute thing here of me jumping on. So I'm not at the ideal location, but we'll make it work.
All right, cool. We'll make it work. Well, we got a bunch of pre-submitted questions, and we're going to jump into the audience. So, Gabby, I think you have those. You want to kick us off, please?
Yeah, and I'm going to start with Eve because she was here early before everybody else. So Eve, it pays to be the early bird. She said her escrow is now closed. The borrower is asking her to fill out a W-2 form and bank direct deposit form before paying the first check. She obtained a taxpayer identification number, but is giving a borrower a W-2 even required.
I guess that's for me.
I don't know the answer, so it's not for me.
Hit on that one.
All right. So can you just go through it one more time so make sure I have it right?
Yep. Yeah. So she said her escrow is now closed. The borrower is asking her to fill out a W-2 form and a bank direct deposit form before paying the first check. She obtained a taxpayer identification number, but is giving the borrower a W-2 even required. So the borrower is asking for a W-2. She's just wondering if she has to do that.
No. Well, no. Well, so as a taxpayer identification number is going to be an employer, or is going to be a company tax number. So it'd be a W-9. Yeah, it should be the W-9, Eve. That should be right. And that's just so they can report the taxes that they're paying you to the IRS. So that's definitely the right way to do it. Yes.
So anyway, is this a
right, like Shauna said.
So I guess I'm still confused. Is this just dollars she's borrowing, or it's a property she's buying?
I think she's lending to somebody, doing private money lending.
All right. So basically, she's lending the money, and then as the borrower pays her back with interest, they want to be able to deduct that interest that they're paying her back. So that's going to be income to her.
Right.
Yep. That is not a W-2.
W-9.
It's a W-9 form. Is that right? I think I've got my numbers right on the tax forms. But whoever is the borrower, when that borrower pays back, they want to be able to deduct the interest that they're paying her. That's how I'm reading this question.
I like it.
So anyway, just to give you an idea, let's say we hire somebody or pay somebody as a contractor or even as a 1099 employee. Before we even pay them, the thing we do is we send them that form, which is a W-9, I believe, because now they're saying, okay, it's okay to just to turn in the money that I'm paying you to the tax people. And I think that's what we have here.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like Melissa. I just keep thinking about Melissa right now. Melissa will not pay anybody. And y'all, so Melissa's our bookkeeper. Melissa will not pay anybody unless she has that W-9 back in her hands.
That's right.
Okay. That's fine. Let me pull up the rest of these. The next
Wait,
are all
just real quick before we go on. Freddie just chatted in. So would she get a 1099 at the end of the year for the interest payments? That would be a yes, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, that would be a yes. It would, right? So like it's the same thing like if you open up a savings account and that's at a conventional bank, at the end of the year, they send you a 1099 for the interest that you've earned, and you have to pay tax on that money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to dive into Christian's questions. First one is, and Christian wants to learn how to improve his access dates if possible.
Access dates?
Yeah, what's
that? I'm not sure what that is.
Access mean?
I'm assuming maybe something related to this policy. I think Caleb's questions are here talking about policies, access dates for policy. I don't know exactly what that would mean.
Is he asking for just as far as the date that he can request a loan, the date that he started his policy?
His next question looks like, I'm wondering if he's with Mass and he has to wait the full year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're with Mass, you're supposed to wait a year to take out a policy loan. That's what we've been telling our clients forever with Mass Mutual policies, you know, that as far as Mass doesn't even like you to take policy loans. That's why we're not writing with Mass anymore, is because they don't really even like policy loans at all. And they definitely don't like them or want them in the first year.
Yeah. Yeah. So his next question says tips and tricks for his next policy to avoid waiting a full year. So I think that's
don't go with Mass.
we won't let you anyway. So
yeah. Any other company is great, but Mass doesn't want you to take policy loans. Mass Mutual does not like infinite banking business. They don't want the clients to take the policy loans. They want to use the money for what they want to do with it. But a lot of you guys like Mass Mutual because when you go to the ball game and you look out there at the big billboard out in center field, there's a big sign that says Mass Mutual. Or when you're watching TV and the commercial comes on, the commercial says Mass Mutual, right? And so anyway, all of you guys want the, what is it called, Hannah? The Louis Vuitton or the Gucci bag?
Yeah.
You know, it's just all in the name. All of our companies that we write with are good, strong mutual companies, have been paying dividends for 100+ consecutive years.
Your Prada bag is going to do the same thing that your Marshall's bag is going to do.
Okay. Hi, Jason, first of all.
Hello.
Okay. Another question from Christian. He says, I'm hearing people talk about a system of policies. I'm not sure what they mean by this, and I want to learn more about that.
Oh, I want this one.
I'm
sorry, Stephen. I'm going to hog camera time today. I don't get to do this much.
He doesn't mind.
So, like, why do you want to do a system of policies? Even Nelson Nash talks about that in his book. This is never about one policy. And, of course, I'm sure you guys have all read the Nelson Nash book, or you know who Nelson Nash is, right? The godfather, the granddaddy, the Mac Daddy of the infinite banking concept, the guy that totally changed my financial life. So as time goes on, the thing you want to do is you want to get more and more policies. Like I think I have 24 policies now. I think Hannah has 5 policies, and you know, and so Hannah's got 5, and so on top of that, she's only 23 years old. Because after you start your first policy, the thing that's going to happen is you are going to obtain more money. Not only are you going to obtain more money just because life goes on and you tend to just to get more money as life goes on, but as you're recapturing and recycling the money inside of your banking policy, it gives you more money to start policies with. For example, the very first policy I started with was $2,000 a month. I couldn't afford to pay it annually. I didn't have the $24,000 to pay it all up front. But I started my first one at $2,000. I was like, wow, this is working good. So I got another one for $2,000 a month. Then I got one for $4,000, then another one for $4,000. So now I pay all my premiums annually in all of the policies. But I could not go back and add money to that first policy. Or if I did, it would be very little, maybe 10 to 15% more. So if I was paying $2,000 a month, maybe I could pay $2,200 now or $2,300, but not a significant number. Because if you overfill the policy, because remember, the policy you start is a contract with the insurance company. So basically, the thing I told the insurance company is that, hey, I want to do $2,000 a month, and then so in exchange for that $2,000 a month, the insurance company is going to give me X amount of death benefit based on that premium dollar, based on my health, and also based on my age. All right. So now if I'm trucking down the road and I'm like, wow, this is working really good, I'm putting in $2,000 a month, I want to change it to $4,000 a month, I can't do it because I'll overfill that policy, and it becomes this thing called a MEC, MEC. It stands for Modified Endowment Contract. And the good old government put the MEC into effect, I think, in June of 1988. And what it says is if your policy becomes a MEC, it's no longer treated as an insurance contract. It's treated as an investment, and it's subject to taxation. So in order to get more money into the policy, we have to start a new policy. Here's the way to think of it. Imagine this as being, so like a 12-ounce bottle. There's no way I can ever get 16 ounces of water inside of this 12-ounce bottle. It just won't hold it. I got to get another bottle down, right? So I can't overfill that policy, and we have to prevent the MEC. And if you want to learn more about the MEC, go to Nelson Nash's book and look on page 38. Page 38 is where Nelson Nash talks about the MEC. So that's why we get a system of policies, because you're always wanting to put more money into these, and we have to open up new policies.
Good.
Love it. I know you're going to like this question too, Brian. It says, I also heard that the cash value we see on our illustrations is not the final outcome when we use it correctly, meaning our cash value can be larger. How do we make this happen?
Use it. Equipment financing. Dad.
Yeah, page, exactly right, Hannah. Okay, go back to Nelson's book, page 54, 59, 60, 61, and 62. They're all the same example on the same person. The guy's putting the same amount of premium in. But if you notice, as those pages go up, he's actually using the policy to buy more of the equipment that he has to buy for his business anyway. So the more that you use that policy, the more you use the dollars in the policy, and you play honest banker with yourself, those numbers just continue to get bigger, because the thing we're doing is we're adding more back into the policy, and it's buying additional paid up additions insurance, and all the stuff that you're buying, you have to buy it anyway. So why not use the policy? So I'll give you an example. The reason I was like 6 minutes late on this call today is because I was talking to a husband and wife client. And well, actually they're not clients yet, but they're about to put in about $400,000 into the real estate world. They're going to go buy a piece of property. Okay, they're driving from Dallas to New Mexico, and the thing they're going to do is they're going to buy a piece of property for about $400,000. And I said, okay. So anyway, they called and asked. They said, hey, I listened to your stuff, and it seems like it would make more sense to put the money in the policy first. And I said, absolutely it would, because now, okay, not only can you buy the property, but you can recapture and recycle those dollars. So I said, how about if you do this? I said, just for easy math, I said, don't hold me to these numbers, but how about if you put in, say, about $550,000 into the policy, and then if you're immediately within, and again, remember the definition of immediately is within the first month or the first 30 days. If now you can go in and borrow $400,000 out of that policy to go buy the property. So now the thing they've just done is this. They've actually put $550,000 into a policy. That's all their money that goes into their banking system, right? So all that $550,000 is compounding and growing at that guaranteed growth rate plus the dividends they're earning. So now they're going to pull out $400,000 to go pay for that property. So even though they pulled out the $400,000, they're still earning money on the full $550,000, right? So they're still earning the interest and the dividends on the full $550,000 because whenever because whenever you take a loan from the general fund of the insurance, or again from the policy, okay, all those dollars are not coming out of the policy. What you're doing is simply putting your policy up for collateral, and you're borrowing from the general fund of the insurance company. So that money is continuing to compound and grow in that tax-free growth rate environment, and the government is completely out of your hair. So the more you use the money for the things you're buying in life anyway, and the more you play honest banker with yourself, those numbers just continue to grow, and they grow exponentially.
I think that answers some of the next few questions that he has about the flexibility and the ability to leverage the system. So I'm going to
the flexibility is basically borrowing immediately, and the definition of immediately is within 30 days. Now, it never takes 30 days to get a loan. I have never waited more than 12 business days ever to get a loan, but I tell you 30 because if it doesn't show up in 12, I don't want you to be mad at me, right? And as the policy goes on, as it gets older, it gets more efficient. That's not me telling you it gets more efficient. That is in the policy contract itself. Today's better than yesterday. Tomorrow is better than today. So as time goes on, the borrowing power, the amount that you can borrow continuously increases. It can never go backwards. It can never go backwards. You can never, ever, ever lose money in a whole life policy unless you kill it yourself. But that's not the insurance company that's going to do that to you. That's you doing it to you. You can't lose. I mean, go to any whole life policy contract on this planet. Now, I said whole life. I didn't say index. I didn't say universal. I didn't say term or variable. I said a whole life policy in a mutual company that pays dividends, that's designed and just like specifically engineered for the banking concept. It can never, ever, ever, ever go down in value. And if you ever see a policy contract or an illustration that goes down in value, then run, because that's not a whole life policy. Whole life policies do not decrease in value. At the worst case ever, the worst case the policy could ever perform is on the guaranteed side of the illustration, which kind of in our business, the guaranteed side of a policy illustration, that really means it's guaranteed to never be that number, because it's never going to be that number. It's going to be a number higher than that, because every company we write with has been paying these dividends for over 120 plus consecutive years without fail.
And actually going into that, they're asking what banks or insurance companies allow these best leverage strategies for cash value.
The ones that the Money Multiplier does business with. So whoever turned you on to this, you contact us and we'll tell you who those are. Well, no, anyway, I'm going to tell you right now who they are. But anyway, the companies that we use, actually, there's probably about 3 or 4 that we primarily use. One is called One America, ONE America, sometimes referred to as American United Life. I will tell you, out of my 24 policies, 14 or 15 of them are with One America. They're headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana. If you ever go downtown Indianapolis, you see these big high-rise buildings. And these big buildings, it says One America. Just ask Stephen Nagy. We were riding scooters in Indianapolis a month ago. And he said, "Oh, look at that, Brent, another One America building," right? So as we're riding scooters through downtown Indianapolis, and Hannah can tell you the same. Another one is called Lafayette Life. Lafayette Life is located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Another one is called Penn Mutual, Penn, Penn Mutual. And another one is called Security Mutual Life of New York, SMLNY. They're located in Binghamton, New York. So those are our primary companies that we write business with. Is that right, Hannah? Did I leave any out? No. Oh, also Guardian. We do some Guardian business too. No more Mass Mutual business. If you guys have to have a Mass Mutual policy, if it has to be a Mass Mutual policy, then I would hang up the phone and go play with the kids or cook your dinner right now. So there's no sense in even being on the call.
Okay. Do insurance companies offer credit lines?
Well, they offer a credit line by allowing you to put the policy up for collateral, and you're borrowing from the general fund of the insurance company, right? So that's when you're borrowing from the insurance company. I think maybe a question that might be closer to what you're asking is, do banks offer credit lines on policies? Absolutely, they do. One of the banks we use, called Coastal, you can put your policy up for collateral at a conventional bank and take a loan from the conventional bank instead of the insurance company. Now, there may be reasons you want to do that, but I can't think of a ton of great reasons why you would want to, unless you're maybe dealing with a company that is direct recognition instead of non-direct recognition. But the answer is yes, you can collaterally put your policy up with a bank. And a bank loves that, by the way. A bank loves that for collateral because, okay, guys, think about it. There is no better collateral on this planet than a cash value life insurance policy. So if you call a bank up and you say you want to borrow money and you have life insurance, cash value life insurance to put up for collateral, they are dancing around in their Speedos, happy to give you those loans because there's no better collateral than cash. Because if you don't pay back the policy loan to the bank, right, then the bank has your policy. And it's not an if, but it's a when you die, pass, graduate, whatever word you like to use. It's not an if, it's a when. We all come with an expiration date. We just don't know when that is. So at the time of your expiration, that death benefit will pay out. And of course, the bank is guaranteed to get their money because the death benefit is way larger than the amount that they gave you as a loan by taking that policy as collateral.
Cool. Okay, Hannah, here's a good one for you. At what age can you start an infinite banking policy?
So, Gabby, are you saying I'm talking too much?
Yep. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you take it, Daddy, take it. So no, you can be honestly, as long as they have a social security number, you can have a policy. I will say, in order to own a policy, you have to be 18 years old, but you can own a policy on any of your minor children, grandchildren, so on and so forth.
So anyway, I want to give an example on this. It was quite a few years ago. I had this chiropractor in Altoona, Pennsylvania. His name is Dr. Steve. His wife's name is Carrie. So anyway, Dr. Steve is a client, and he calls me up the day that his baby was born. His name is Stevie Jr. And Stevie Jr. is probably 9 or 10 now, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. At least 8. But anyway, so, okay. So like, as far as Dr. Steve calls me up and he says, Brent, he says, the baby's here. We just had the baby. And I'm like, congratulations, Dr. Steve. That's great news. He says, no. He says, I don't want congratulations. I'm letting you know the baby was just born so we can get a policy on the newborn. And I said, wait, hold on, Dr. Steve. Before we do that, we have to have a social security number. So just within a few days or whatever, we had that and he was off to the races.
Okay. Yeah. So everybody, if you guys want to start putting more questions into the chat now, most of the other questions that individual had, Brent answered. So it was perfect. I like Shauna's comment. She said she's going to Disney in December and she's officially using Harper's Cash Value, her daughter. She had $2,700 that she used. That's so cool.
Yeah. And the thing about Shauna, if you guys don't know Shauna, every year she goes to Disney World. Is that right, Gabby? Every year?
Yeah.
Every single year she goes to Disney World. Now, I think the previous years, and I've known Shauna, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 years now, 5 or 6 years or so. But I think in the beginning, when Shauna first started her own policy, she was using the cash value of her policy to go to Disney World. And then every year she goes to Disney World, so she knows what she's going to spend. So she takes a policy loan. And then over the course of the year, all she's doing is paying into her own banking system. And then next year, she even has more to go to Disney World again. But I think now for the first year, possibly this is the second year, she's now going to use the daughter's policy and borrow those funds, because probably Shauna's doing other stuff just with her money and her cash value. So it's a cool thing, man, as you start to, build these policies. I mean, even like on the call here, you see, you actually see like Hannah, my daughter. I mean, I own policies on Hannah, even though she owns her own policies. I own policies on her for years and years now. And I use her cash value to do a lot of the stuff that I do in life. Even though the policy's on her body, I own and control it because it's my money, right? It's on her body. And if everything happens the way that it's supposed to, I am supposed to die, pass, graduate before Hannah. So eventually the ownership will transfer to her on her policies. And the more that I use it, the more that I play honest banker, pay myself back and use that money again for other stuff, those numbers are going to get bigger and bigger. So that's just more cash value and more death benefit that's going to get transferred down to Hannah. And even though the policy's on Hannah, even though when Hannah passes, okay, I mean, it's the death benefit will go on her beneficiary. And right now that would be probably split between two cats.
Actually, and Shauna, since you're on here, one, I got to tell you, I'm going to Halloween Horror Nights on Saturday, so I'll be in Disney soon. And then actually, Dad, I don't even think you know this, but one thing that I bought with my policies last week is the new iPhone 14 Max. This baby's pretty cool, y'all. But this sucker was about $1,700. So that's what I bought with my policy last week. So good job, Shauna.
And I'm still using like the iPhone 3.
Yeah, and I know I wanted to throw something else in there. What some people will do is they'll put the points on their credit card. So like if they have like, I don't know, all the things that Disney has for points, but or credit cards that have points for Disney or travel points, but you can put the charge on your card, then use your policy to pay that off even. So.
Absolutely. That's an important point, Gabby, that Gabby just said. So credit cards are really assets and not liabilities, as long as you're paying them off monthly. Because credit cards are going to get you hotel points. They're going to get you airline miles, or like Gabby says, maybe Walt Disney points. So I put everything on a credit card. I will go into the Quick Trip and buy a pack of Tic Tacs and put them on a credit card. I don't pay cash with anything. So I even went to the car wash last week in Idaho, and I had my quarters ready to go, but it said, "Oh, credit cards." All right, well, I'm putting my credit card in the car wash that I'm self-washing my car in, because the more I put on that credit card, the more dollars I spend, and it equals the points. But the key is you have to be disciplined and pay those credit cards off monthly. And not all of you guys are disciplined. A lot of you guys are very disciplined with money, but a lot of you guys think just because you have checks left, there's still money in the bank. So, I don't know where you're at on that spectrum.
Good. Hi, Joe.
Hello.
Okay, and we have Nick here too. Nick's been really awesome. He's had a really cool connection with Chris lately. So Nick, his question is, if you don't pay it back, how long are they going to run that 5% interest?
Forever. It's the same thing as a HELOC, right? So anyway, for example, you take out a home equity line of credit, and let's just say you have a $10,000 line of credit, okay? It could be $100,000, doesn't matter what the number is. And on that HELOC, they're going to charge you interest. And if it's a $10,000 loan and all that money is borrowed out and you're using that money, that means you're going to pay $500 in interest on that money annually. Now, on a HELOC, they normally make you pay interest only back monthly. On the policy, you don't have to pay it back monthly. As a matter of fact, you never have to pay it back ever. But I don't recommend, okay, so not paying back the policy loan interest. On an annual basis, at the minimum, you want to pay back the policy loan interest. So on your anniversary date, if you've kept that $10,000 out for a year, that's $500 that you're going to pay back in policy loan interest because you're using the money, right? So hopefully, though, the thing you're doing is if you're paying 5% interest on the money you're using, hopefully you have that into an investment vehicle that's maybe giving you 10%. Let's just say that. So that means you pay 500, but you get 1,000. Is that okay? Absolutely it is. You would do that all day long. But let's kind of think about what the policy is doing. Remember, when you borrow the money out, you're borrowing from the general fund of the insurance company. So you're paying back the insurance company that interest, in this case, would be $500. But keep in mind, the $10,000 is still in your policy, compounding and growing at that guaranteed compounded growth rate plus the dividend. So you're earning money even though you're using the money. Now, there's one other part to this. Whenever you pay back the policy, or again, I'm sorry, not the policy, but so whenever you pay back the insurance company the interest money, just for example, $500, well, guess where that money goes? It goes to the insurance company as a $500 of basically interest income. Well, who owns the policy contract? Now, you don't own the insurance company, but remember, this is a mutual company. And what does it mean? It means that you own the policy contract. So the more money the insurance company makes profit-wise, the more they're going to pay you in a dividend. So essentially, that money is coming back into your pool. So not only is your money still growing inside of the policy, even though you've got the $10,000 borrowed out, when you pay back the insurance company, the more profitable the insurance company is, the higher your dividend is. It's a win-win all the way around. And the insurance company will never call you up and say, hey, why do you want a policy loan and when are you going to pay us back? They don't care. They could care less. The bank is going to put restrictions on you. They're only going to allow you to keep that money for so long. Eventually, that line of credit or HELOC is going to expire, and you're going to have to go in and just take out a new one if they even offer it, or they're going to roll it in to some kind of a conventional loan.
Yeah, and Wayne is asking the question, does the interest go into the policy account or to the insurance company? And Shauna totally had that covered. So, but yeah. So the interest we're talking about does go to the insurance company. But Shauna's right. If you, for instance, you're lending at 10 to 50%, you cover the 5% charge to the insurance company. The additional interest that you've made goes back to you. And hopefully you pay yourself well.
Hey, and all right. So just to give you an example, I just went about an hour ago, because I had to do it by 5:15 Eastern time. I took an envelope up to the box at Federal Express. And for all of you guys that are in the Private Money Club, or if you're not in the Private Money Club, you need to check out the Private Money Club and what that's all about. And Stephen Nagy, Chris Noggle can help you out with that. But I just actually took a check up there for $800,000 in a deal that I've already put in another deal with the same person. I put in $1 million that's given me a 16% rate on that $1 million. And this new 800,000 is giving me 18%. Okay. And I get paid that interest every month, right? So I get on basically just on the money that I put in on the $1 million, I get a check for $13,333 a month. And the one I put in at the 18% for $800,000. Hang on, I just did that math. I think it's $12,000 a month. 800 times 0.18 is 144 divided by 12. Yeah, it's $12,000 a month, right? So even though on the one deal I put in $1 million, I get 16%. The other deal I put in, 800,000, I get 18% on that money. Guess where the money went first? Before I lent it out to that deal, guess where it was? It was inside of the policy. So I take a loan from the general fund of the insurance company at, say, 5%, and I'm making 16 or 18% on that money. But even though I got the 1.8 out of the policy as a policy loan, the 1.8 is still in the policy, growing and compounding in that tax-free growth rate environment. So I would definitely suggest you find deals like that. And the best place to find them is the Private Money Club. And there's a guy named Rod Fuller. I'm probably not supposed to mention that, but yeah.
Actually, Dad, just real quick, I had somebody call me. Her name is Nicole, and Nicole's good clients of ours that have multiple policies on themselves and their children. But she called me up because I made the connection between them, and she's like, Hannah, there has to be something to this. There's got to be some magic. It can't be this simple as just getting this mailbox money in every single month. But it is really that simple. Because in my opinion, why go after and get tenants or have the headache of having to fix lights or toilets or whatnot, right? Just go put the money to work somewhere.
Well, exactly right. And I think so anyway, Hannah, I know who you're talking about because I saw that email. So anyway, I'm having that discussion right now because as a few of you guys know, I had a total of 3 rentals on the west coast of Florida. I have one in St. James City, Florida, which is on Pine Island, and I have 2 in North Captiva, Florida, right over on the west coast, like close to like Captiva, Key Acosta, right where the eye of the hurricane came through. Well, anyways, okay, so the one rental is completely gone. I mean, it's gone. It's got to be built up again. The other 2, I mean, who knows how long it's going to be before those can be rented. I mean, they don't even have electricity. They're talking Thanksgiving to Christmas before they even see electricity over there. So all that rental income is gone for right now, but I still have to pay for those properties. I still got to carry the debt load on those properties, even though I'm not getting rental income. So I've been sitting here in the last couple weeks thinking, I'm like, okay, do I really want to continue to put more and more money into these properties? Or do I just want to take the money and do I want to have it to go out in deals like I just described, where I'm in first position, where I have a personal guarantee, okay, from the borrower. So again, I mean, that's just something to think about. And of course, like Hannah said, all the headaches, and all the crap that goes with properties and rental. And yeah, I know you own the asset and it's tangible. And a lot of people like to have that tangible asset, but I don't know, man. I don't know that I'm going to continue to go out and buy properties in real estate to have them as like short-term rentals or long-term rentals, especially when you have tools like the Private Money Club that will bring the borrowers and the lenders together. I'm just telling you guys, I would check out the Private Money Club if you haven't done so already.
And there's so many other options too. I mean, part of what we do is through our network and connections is we put together private funds as well. I mean, a lot of people on here had invested in CapFlow or CapWest in the past, which is a fund Chris was partners in with other real estate investors. We just launched a brand new fund this past week called Inicio Capital Fund, and it's aiming to take advantage of this market that we're in right now and go for high teen returns for the lenders. So Brent, like if you put money in, 16 to 19% returns annually on that is what we're aiming for, taking advantage of this real estate market. And so if you're investor looking for places to move money, this is definitely the time to do it, especially if you're getting away from the stock market. You got money cash now, you've cashed out of properties or equity in homes or whatever the case might is. Get that money moving. And if we can flow it through a policy first, awesome. But then from there, there's so many options out there now with Private Money Club, with these funds that we're putting together and doing. And it's a really cool time to be involved with this group for sure.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say that I have no interest at all in the Private Money Club. I don't make a dime from any of that. Has nothing to do with me whatsoever. So anyway, if it sounds like I'm promoting it for the gain financially, I don't get a dime from any of that whatsoever. It's just something that you should do if you're a borrower or a lender. It's just the perfect place. I like the way Chris Noggle states it. It's like kind of like a matchmaking site, right?
It's
So,
Tinder.
yeah, it's kind of like right. So like it's kind of like Match. It's like Match.com instead of for people. It has to do with money.
Good.
Cool. Love it. Okay. Hannah, this is a good
Instead of
underwriting.
Christian Mingle, it's Chris Mingle. There you go. That's a good one, right?
Okay, good underwriting question from Cynthia. She says, can you have a policy on a foster child?
On a foster child, you can. I would assume foster you having that foster child under your wing. I almost said that foster child in your possession. That's not good. I don't want to say that. But having them under your wing, I would assume that you're their legal guardian. So yeah, that's insurable interest there.
Okay, this goes back to the credit card stuff we were talking about. Eve is asking, what's your favorite credit card?
Oh,
I guess this can be for anyone, everyone.
my Marshall's credit card.
No, I think they're talking about like points, right? Like a Visa or a MasterCard. I don't know. I've kind of used the same credit card for years, even though I don't fly commercially a lot. I have a Southwest card, an American Airlines card, and I tend to use those for either people in my family, just like my son Zach he's going to be flying home from Dallas tomorrow, and he said, Dad, can you get me a ticket? So I went on and I used my points for American Airlines to get him home, or if I send Hannah somewhere, sometimes I use that. Or I've even had other people. I've even I remember Chris Noggle was in a bind one time, and I said, no problem, Chris, I got it. Let me just get the points for you, and we'll get you to where you need to go. So I tend to use airline mile cards, and I think it's just because I've had them. I don't know that that's the best way to do it. There's another card I think we have, Hannah, what's it called? The Chase Inc. card. Yeah. Chase Inc., INK, and that gives you points or dollars back.
Dexter says he likes Chase Sapphire. Let us know why, Dexter.
Yeah, actually, Dexter, I used Chase as well, but I just got into Chase just because I was young at the time and I just needed a credit card, and they were the only people that would approve me at the time because I had no credit, So I still use my Chase credit card to this day. And actually, Dexter, you'd be interested in this. I just got the Apple credit card because going back to that conversation, Dad, I got the Apple credit card to go buy my phone, and then I'll pay off my Apple credit card because I got the points for it now.
There you go. And then too, I'll tell you, just like my son, that Sean, all right, anyway, he's the oldest one. He likes hotel points at Hyatt. So we're talking about this weekend, the Steelers are playing the Dolphins in Miami, and he's a big Pittsburgh fan. There, we got a smile out of Stephen Nagy. I knew we'd get one when we mentioned Steelers.
You're coming down?
But
you going to the game?
But possibly. But anyway, he said, hey, come on down because I got Hyatt points. I'll get us the hotel at the Hyatt because he says he's got tons of free nights because his credit card is all Hyatt points. So I guess it just is a preference of what you like.
I didn't buy tickets yet. Let me know. I'll go.
Well, yeah. So anyway, the Steelers are playing the Dolphins. So so I think they're both trying to lose to get the number 1 overall draft pick next year.
No nonsense. Tua's back for the Dolphins. The quarter picket for the Steelers is starting to play. It's going to be a good game, man. Nonsense.
Okay.
What happened to Casey and Buffalo this weekend? I was in Utah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steven. So you're coming in broken a little bit. I can't hear you.
What happened to that Casey
probably need
Buffalo
to check
game?
your connection, Steven. You probably need to check the connection. I think you're coming in broken.
Well,
go ahead and delete him. Can you just close him out?
Brian, it's okay. We wiped the floor with the Steelers too, so don't worry about it. Where do you go? I have questions for you, Stephen.
He's throwing a fit.
Okay, I have Inicio Capital questions. Drew is asking, what is the investment minimum?
Just tell people to reach out to me. It's cool. I'll text Drew. think so.
Okay, same thing for Eve. Eve
I'll talk to you.
text or email Stephen. Cool. Okay. Oh, Shauna says she uses Capital One. She doesn't mind it. Also, her actual
What's in
bank
your wallet?
has some decent cash back. MasterCard. She doesn't have a Disney credit card. Chase Sapphire offers the most points for a lot of spending. Dedicated travel department too. Interesting.
Chase Freedom is money.
Chase
They give you-
Freedom.
Yeah.
They have to
That's
have
what I
the
have.
Freedom Sapphire Inc. What else do they have? Okay.
Hey y'all, not to pivot real quick, but we got Jason on the line. Should we introduce Jason and have Jason tell us a little bit about him, because I know some of y'all have been talking with Jason, and Jason's killing it. He's a rock star, really understands this infinite banking concept. So Jason, I know you're in Orlando, but tell us a little bit about you and kind of your expertise.
Well, thank you, Hannah. I wasn't expecting to speak at all. So that's fun. I was going to say, if I said anything, I've got the Force behind me, right? I've got my Yoda painting, my Darth Vader painting, got to keep in balance. I actually painted those for my oldest son way back in the day. So artist, transition to, let's see, I went to build a $30 million recruitment division, right? And helped over 3,000 people find better jobs. But I looked at it like, hey, I'm just a Band-Aid to a bigger problem. Like what I'm doing is just a Band-Aid. And when I discovered this, when I finally started asking better questions and asked my financial mentor who learned from Nelson Nash, and he actually referred me to Brent, and that's how I found you guys. But when I found this, I was like, why doesn't everybody know about this? This is incredible. Like every single human needs to know about this. I was even teaching this, like what is the definition of money, to my 8-year-old in his class, like a week and a half ago with a CPA. And it was brilliant. It was so fun listening to the kids answer, you know, what their definition of money is. Some are like, it's trees, it's paper, it's this, it's that. And so blessed to be here. This team is the best in the world as far as helping people find that financial freedom, because every call I'm on, I can tell you one thing for certain. Everybody wants more money and less time with more magic in their life. And a lot of people have their financial issues. I had a guy on before, I was going to ask you guys, he was literally telling me like, Jason, well, what about like Enron and this and that and all these companies that go out of business? I'm like, well, the companies we use are only A+ rated. They've been around for 100+ years, 120, 140 years. They don't miss their dividends for over 120 years. I don't know how much more secure that you want than that. And he's like, but what if? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not that much of a conspiracy theorist. I kind of ran out of things I could even share with him. So what would you say to that? I'll kick it back.
No, I'll tell you the first thing I say. I say, because I've had a few of these conversations. I say, Dad, your question that you're asking me is the same question as if you get up tomorrow, you ask me what's going to happen if I go outside and get abducted by an alien. Right? I mean, not to shame their question or invalidate their question at all, but I get it. There's a lot of what ifs, and actually, I do have a podcast episode on this called "Why Do I Want to Leave My Wealth Stored with the Insurance Company Rather Than Conventional Banks?" And it's really just talking about diversify. But here's my response to you. Honestly, if all crap really does hit the fan, let's just talk about the big pink elephant in the room. Ohio National, y'all, right? Wasn't Ohio National a mutually owned company? Well, what happened, and we saw it coming down, right? Because we see those Comdex scores. We can see how the dividends are projecting and what their investments and portfolios are doing. And so we saw it coming down with Ohio National. Well, Ohio National, what happened is that a bigger insurance company came in and bought them out. There's other associations out there. One of them called the Guarantee of Association, and it's another entity, not a government sponsored entity, but it's just that this entity, because we have to keep in mind, insurance companies are governed at the state level, not the federal level, and so this association comes in and they will monitor all of those insurance companies. So if something is going down, they will come in and a bigger, larger company will come in and buy them out. Well, what happened with Ohio National? Well, Ohio National, a Canadian stock company, came in and bought them out. So they're no longer mutual anymore. Well, you know what's going to happen? Well, okay, they're not a mutual company, but that doesn't affect my contract whatsoever. All right, maybe I just won't get the dividend, but I'm still going to forever get that 4% guaranteed interest inside of my contract. And why am I doing this? I'm doing it because of the banking concept and the aspect of my life. So I'm going to just keep banking with that policy like how I would with any other contract that I'm doing. I guess that would be my response.
That's
Yeah,
a
no,
beautiful,
that's a good
beautiful
point.
response because you literally sorry, Brent, you literally interrupted his pattern with a like, it's like going outside and an alien takes me away. It's like, what? And then you give him all the details after. So thank you.
Well, yeah, Hannah, that's a good point because I have Ohio National policies. I probably put about 125,000 a year into Ohio National premium, right? And I'm not doing anything with those policies. I'm keeping them. A lot of people are going out and exchanging their Ohio National policies. I'm not, because it can never perform less than the guaranteed value. Yeah, it's not going to be the dividend that I expected to have happen, but also think about it if a person's uninsurable. I mean, you never want to give up any policy if you're no longer insurable, no matter how bad it is, right? I mean, just having a bad policy is better than no policy at all. But I'm keeping my Ohio National policies. I mean, I didn't write a ton of business with Ohio National ever, but I haven't told anybody or recommended to any Ohio National client that they go in and change their policy. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can. There could be some pros to maybe exchanging it, but I don't know. That would be a conversation, for any Ohio National clients that we'd have on a one-on-one basis. And just to go back to what Jason said is that anyway, I think, Jason, the answer that I would give is there's no better place on this planet to build, keep, and store your wealth than a whole life policy and a mutual company that pays dividends, right? No better place at all. So when somebody says, well, what if, tell me another place that would do any better, that's going to give you any better than inside of the policy. Remember, the policy is not, it's okay. So like, it's not an either or, right? It's not like, okay, I do the policy or I do the investment. No, the policy is an and, it's an additional, it's in addition to what you're already doing. It's the process to make the investment. So it's not like choose between this or the policy. No, the policy is the process to do all of this or all of that. And where else on this planet are you wanting to put your money first? Show me a place. Show me another place that you would want to build, keep, and just, and okay, as far as build, keep, and create wealth.
Crypto.
There's no better place. Well, crypto is fine. However, okay, I mean, I would never buy crypto, but I mean, right, of course, I would never buy a stock either. But okay, so crypto is okay, but crypto is the investment. The stock is the investment. Where do we put our money first? Buying real estate is the investment. Doing a hard money loan is the investment. But where do you want to put the money first? That's the key question. So all those other things are investments. The definition of an investment is something that can go up and can go down. It can go up and down. The policy can never, ever, ever, ever go down in value. It can only increase. So really, if you think about this and how crazy simple this concept is that we talk about day after day, is all we're doing is we're adding one simple step in our financial life. We're putting money into the policy first, and then from the policy, we're going to use that money to go buy the things we're buying in life anyway, our debts, our expenses, our products, our services, our investments, etc. That's all we're doing, adding one step.
Awesome. Okay, we're
Thank
going to
you all.
wrap up with this last question from Rick. He says, is there any downside to non-direct recognition companies?
I would recommend non-direct recognition companies if your intention now that's not and Pops, you might chime in too, but it's no difference direct versus non-direct. But if you're actively going to be using this for the banking concept, hey, I want to put in my dollars, take it out within 30 days because I need to pay off debts, I have expenses coming up, I want to invest with this money, non-direct recognition would be my choice personally.
Yeah. And I asked this a lot to Nelson Nash, and many people asked him this. And he says, Brent, it's all about the way you think. It's all about your imagination. It's all about the process. Don't get wrapped up in the company direct versus non-direct. The way we use the policies for the banking concept to be able to finance everything we do in life, right? Because everybody should be in two businesses, as Nelson says. We should all be in the business, whatever makes us our dollars, right? What makes us a living. And everybody should be in the banking business, the business that's going to finance everything we do while we live. So he would never pro or con direct versus non-direct. It's all about the process and exactly just what we do. All I would say is if you're in a direct recognition company and you're taking out massive policy loans, you may just want to consider having a bank as the line of credit. It depends on how that direct recognition will affect the dividend. So, but so anyway, out of all the companies we write with, who do we have as direct recognition, Hannah? We have Penn Mutual and Guardian. All right. They're good companies. I mean, but they're direct recognition. So I would not get wrapped up into that. I would speak to whoever you're talking about what you plan on doing with your money. But there's many, many, many conventional banks out there. And there's even a couple that we can give you the name of banks that will gladly take your policy as collateral and just take the loan from them if you're really concerned about that.
Cool, guys. Well, I don't know if Steven's still here, but we can wrap up at this point or at time.
Wait, just real quick. Dad and I were not there. I don't think Jason was there either. Utah, give us a quick recap about the experience in Utah. Was that good? Any updates or what?
Joe, you take this one.
I was gonna say Joe from New York. Let's hear Joe.
It was totally awesome. It was a great event. Chris did a fabulous job. The whole team. There's no words that could explain it. It was totally awesome. And if you didn't watch it live, I think it's still on, so you can still watch it.
Yes. I'm in the middle of it right now. Dan Clark really killed it, man. He's a very good speaker.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Gabby, is just there a place where people can go watch it, or how can you post that in this chat box, or can you just tell them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks not what Drew posted. I believe it's if you go to private money club. Let me check.
Well, here actually, I just sent the link recently to Pop, so I can send that to you. You post it.
So the YouTube recording right now, I'll put it in the comments, but it's like an hour and 45 minutes long. We're cutting it down right now. It should be ready in the next day or two. And it'll be like 45 minutes, so you can get the best parts all at once. So we'll email that out as soon as we do. But for now, the recording's on there. Also,
oh, I see you, man.
Oh yeah, baby, let's go, Steelers.
Oh, that's hideous. I'm sorry.
Well, good. You have something to throw into the fire pit in case you run out of wood.
I'm in charge here. Don't forget. I can just get rid of all of you guys. So I'm going to talk the rest of the time. The rest of the team is gone. Go Steelers, baby.
Go Bills. Bye week.
All right. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Thanks for making it on, everybody.
All right, guys.
Thank you
Take
all.
care.
All right. Thanks, team. Thanks, everybody, being here. We'll see you guys
See you
next
next
week. Peace.
Bye-bye.